1 month ago today, I disconnected and put away my second monitor to see what it would be like. My second monitor has always been the Spotify, YouTube and Discord monitor. Whenever I try to do something, one of those applications are on my second monitor, and I found myself getting stuck in whatever grabbed my attention. And don't worry, it is the 7th of July, so I didn't fail the challenge. Just look at this clip of how dusty it was. I did this for a full month and documented my thoughts. This is what happened. So, when beginning this experiment, I had some expected downsides because, of course, I'm used to having 2 monitors and slicing my workspace in half, or I don't know what it would count as when I have a vertical monitor, but you understand what I mean. That would come with some downsides. So, first of all, less workspace. Sure, I could split my monitor in 2, but that would feel a bit like cheating. I tried it one time during this experiment and it didn't give me a good feeling because the whole reason for this is to just focus on one thing at once. So I'll come to a more concrete example of this being an issue later on in the video, but yeah, it was a downside to have less workspace. And the second one, as I said, Discord is usually up on my second monitor because whenever me and my friends chat, we usually have our cameras on, and sitting there, telling jokes, playing a game with friends or whatever I was doing, not seeing my friends when we are chatting felt off, because I have my camera on, and that was a whole other feeling of itself, because I kind of want to see what my camera captures whenever it's on, but yeah, it was an odd feeling just to hear them talking when I'm used to seeing them. But I expected some upsides as well. I found that when I get stuck on my second monitor, I tend to lean a bit to the left and stare at my monitor, just getting stuck in whatever is on that one. Because, like I said, I have YouTube up or Spotify up or whatever. But when I decide that, okay, I'm gonna close this other thing and look at, for example, YouTube, I never moved my YouTube browser to my main monitor, which is way better as well. Instead, I just sat there. If you think that you're my webcam now, I just sat there like this. And sitting like that is not very good for my posture. And I've noticed that I have a slight lean to the left. I haven't checked my spine. We don't need to go into like some proper like doctor stuff, but I just know that it isn't good for my posture. The second upside that I was expecting was better focus. I thought that the decreased field of view would help me focus on just what's in front of me instead of constantly looking around, getting distracted from what I'm doing. Because my most productive work is performed on that monitor, not this one. As I said, that is not a productive monitor. At most, I would have my file explorer up on that one to be able to move files easily whenever editing images or videos. But besides that, it has no productive use. So, I took notes during these days. I didn't take notes every day because I wasn't doing anything special every day, but I took notes of things that I realized. And these are the things that I noticed in order of realization is the little note that I put on it. The 2nd of June was the start of this experiment. It was toward the end of my school year, but I wanted to start it right before school ended so that I still had some assignments to do with just one monitor to see what that would be like. I had a home assignment where I had to follow along in a video with a program that I didn't have much knowledge of. So I couldn't just listen to the video and follow along. I had to open the video, look at what he was doing, where he was pressing and everything, and then pause the video, go over to the program that I was using, and then do what he did. It was kind of lucky that it was just replicating his movements exactly, but it was still a challenge because if I missed what he pressed or whatever, it took a bit more time. But I wasn't in a hurry, so I shouldn't complain too much about this, but it was a noticeable thing, and my Alt-Tab buttons were being used a lot. But I did notice the decreased field of view that I mentioned, because I didn't just disconnect the monitor, I did put it away. So this part of the desk was completely empty, and when I sat here, I noticed that, first of all, it felt more clean. It looked much better. But I also noticed that I did just look at this, because sometimes before this experiment, I attempted just turning off my second monitor and seeing what that felt like if I could just use one monitor, not out of a, oh, am I gonna be able to control myself thing, but out of a, is this actually possible for me to use with how I use my computer? Which it was. But I noticed when I actually put it away, it didn't lure my eyes that way. And I also noticed, how do I fill my desk now? Because it does take up quite a lot of space, even though I have a vertical monitor. Sure, I have still this space now, but then I had double the space. I don't remember exactly what I did. I believe I kept it quite empty. This second computer moved there for a short bit before being installed over here instead. So then I just left this empty, and it was a great space for me to just lay out things, because I use a lot of physical papers lately, and having this area to actually have my notepad and stuff was really good. So, with that being said, the first day of this experiment was a success. I documented some things on the second day, this being the 3rd of June, and my primary note is getting used to it. I was still used to having YouTube on my second monitor, and primarily like being used to having YouTube on when I'm doing stuff, because it's always on with some sort of video, often video essays or just someone talking, because I don't like gameplay videos, but I like the company that it brings. I kind of use it like a podcast without it being an actual podcast. Podcast. I don't know what I'm saying. The difference now is that I just don't see it, and I started picking more video essays actually, where I was sure that it wasn't anything that I would have to look at, because then I could have it on in the background, just like I would find a podcast on Spotify. The only thing was the times when there was something that I wanted to see, and I was like, oh, gotta pause my game or whatever I'm doing. I haven't been gaming that much lately, and I've been getting better at not having anything on while playing games, but it would still be a bit of a hassle to pause that and actually look at if they bring up some numbers about some statistical thing or whatever. But in general, it wasn't too big of a problem. And an upside to this was that when there was a video that I actually wanted to watch, I watched it. I didn't just have it on my second monitor while doing whatever on this one. Because doing whatever, I mean playing a game or thinking that I'm productive, because I can't do anything productive when listening to something else, because the productive things that I do require hearing, whether it's working on music or editing together a video or simply writing a script, because I need full focus on that. At most I can have some instrumental music on in the background. So I realized that I started actually watching the videos that I wanted to watch, and I kept listening to the ones that only required listening. Over to gaming. This is a realization that I had on the 3rd of June as well. I started playing story games again. I found that I really got stuck in this hole of, oh, I want to have something on in the background, then I can't play my story games, so I'll play some Minecraft. But I didn't actually want to play some Minecraft, I just wanted to play some games that allowed me to have something else on while doing it. I'm a sucker for story games, as you may know if you watch my old Twitch channel. I call it old now because I haven't streamed in a bit, but I hope to be able to do something with it soon again. Hint. But now, when I didn't have any stuff up on my second monitor, I found that it was easier to start playing a story game instead. I paused whatever video essay I was half listening to and booted up Assassin's Creed again. I had started playing Assassin's Creed 3 recently, then I paused it, and I found now that I only had one monitor to work with, it was easier to actually keep playing the story games. That's the primary thing. I could start story games, play one mission, and then now I want to do this. But I kept starting the game and staying in the game, which was really fun. And I completed that quickly, and now I'm on to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which I've been waiting for. So I don't have that many notes for the 11th of June. The only note that I took was, doesn't feel like an experiment anymore. I started getting used to this and almost thinking, should I bring the second monitor back or not? It was at this point I started, instead of looking at the upsides with it, because I had found that there were a lot of them, instead I started looking at the downsides, like what am I missing out on by not having the second monitor? And as you can tell, I put it up again, and there are reasons for it, which I noted on the next day. The next day in this case is the 16th of June, when my friends actually started bugging me about getting my second monitor back. Because, I don't know if you know, but whenever screen sharing in Discord, you can see the Discord window if you don't go into settings and turn that off. But my friends didn't like that because they got a bit seasick whenever I was screen sharing and they could see themselves in the background and the looped screen share and everything. So they started saying, why are you only using one monitor? Up until this point I kept it quite hidden. I told some of my friends and they were like, can you not control yourself? And I was like, yes I can, but I also want to fully cut it, cold turkey or whatever they say, and see what it feels like. But now my friends started being annoyed that I only had one, because there were some things when we were playing games where it was like, oh look at this while we're doing this thing. So they would screen share something, and I couldn't do both things at once. So that annoyed them, and it started to annoy me a little bit as well. This is when I realized that I had some reasons to have two monitors, but I started asking myself then, how can I return to having two monitors without overusing them? And especially overusing the second one for things that I didn't need it for. So on the 26th of June, I started properly missing having two monitors. And my notes on this day are a bit longer, so I'll actually read them straight from my script over here. And a minus thing that I noticed was, I want two monitors for the quality of life factor and effectivity. And what I mean by that is, if we go back to when I mentioned having the file explorer up on my second monitor, it was so easy to simply have DaVinci Resolve, which I edit my videos in, up on the primary screen, have a full overview of whatever files I needed to get from my file explorer on the left monitor. Just drag them over. Simple as that. And in general, it's just way more effective to have two monitors. It goes way quicker, every little task. And sure, I don't need to save a bunch of time because I'm not doing work on this computer except for my hobby jobs, which is this stuff and music. I still want to save some time because it's almost satisfying to just save a little bit of time. On a plus side that I wrote in my notes was, I believe this reset has helped my discipline, so I won't get stuck on YouTube or similar. And I can tell you this, both in this space and in my life outside of this room, my discipline has gotten better with this. Even when watching movies, I've stick to this one monitor experiment. I don't pull up my phone as much anymore whenever watching movies, even if I want to go onto IMDb to check the actor. I can do that after, or I can do that at a slower moment in the film. And my discipline has also gotten better with leaving YouTube when I feel like I had this other thing to do. Because having YouTube up only on my one monitor is easy to get stuck on as well. But due to me realizing that I'm actually able to pause the YouTube video and, for example, start the story game or do whatever other productive things I've had to do. I've, for example, written this script while doing this experiment. I, due to that, think that I would be able to only have YouTube on my second monitor without actually getting stuck in it. And whenever I properly want to watch YouTube, I can pull it up on the main screen, watch that video and then turn it off. So, at this point, a month had passed. It was the 2nd of July and it was the end of the experiment. And honestly, I felt unsure if I wanted to have 2 monitors again. I'm currently giving it a shot to see how I handle 2 monitors, but the issue is that during most parts of this experiment, I didn't have that many productive things to do. I had already finished my YouTube video at the beginning of this experiment, and I only had script writing to do for this one. So I didn't have that many productive things to do, and it was hard for me to feel what 2 monitors contra 1 does for productivity. So due to this amount of questions, I extended the experiment a little bit by paying close attention to how I approached having 2 monitors again. In the end, I believe that I simply needed a reset. By not having 2 monitors for a bit, I got used to only having one and using that in a productive way. And today, while working on the thumbnail for this video, I noticed that I could have YouTube with a pretty intriguing YouTube video actually. It wasn't just a video essay. Up on my second monitor without looking at it too much. And the few times that I looked at it, it was something more to look at. I saw it, it passed by, and then I kept working. I honestly feel like this month passed in no time. I'm not sure if that is because I started this experiment right at the end of my school year, but it came and went fast regardless. If you also feel like your second monitor is just that, not one of your essential things, I recommend that you try to put it away for a bit and see how it feels. It doesn't have to be for an entire month, even though that passes quickly, but just give it a shot. So, for now, this second monitor is reserved for seeing my friends and myself in Discord while playing games or just chatting, as well as for extra space when I'm editing videos, images or doing other productive things. But I have to make sure that it doesn't distract me when I'm doing things that only require 1 monitor. I was close to putting up 2 fingers there. I know how weak I am for this second monitor, so it will for sure be challenging. So I believe I'll still turn it off whenever I feel like I don't need to use it. That's also good for saving electricity and also saving my sanity and productivity. To end this video, I hope that you give this a shot if you feel like you are in the same situation as I was, because it really did help me. And I always felt like, no, I can control myself. If I actually need to focus on things, then I can turn it off. But I also noticed, I can do that thing in 15 minutes. There's only 15 minutes left on this video. I'll finish watching this, and then the next video came on, and the next one, and the next one, and then all of a sudden it was dinner time, and then evening. And with evening, I shouldn't be doing that now. I should relax. I've been productive all day. My arguments for myself never made sense, and I noticed that when I put this second monitor away. So I'll just have to be cautious if I slide into that habit again, but I don't believe I'm going to. But who knows, maybe there will be a part 2 to this video. Thank you for listening to my very unprofessional experiment. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more of my stuff, then please subscribe. And if you have any thoughts or further questions about how this felt, then please comment down below and give the video a like to push it to more people. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. First take! Om du inte filmar nu så kommer jag spöa dig. Det ser bra ut. I wonder what my color grading is on. White balance auto. Oh well. 1 month ago today, I put away my... 1 month... 1 month... Hur fan kan jag inte ens få till den första line?